Hey everybody, I'm Josh and welcome to another episode of Just Sayin. Thank you. On the show today, join me as we close out back to school month with the answer to the age-old question, what happened to my early 20s? Sit back and relax because I got a lot to say. That's right, it's the end of August being back to school month, and this week we're closing it out with our college years. And I'm going to warn you right now, parents, your kids most likely will drink when they go to school, whether they're of age or not. So just be prepared. It's going to happen. All right? Which leads me to my first point in my host chat, don't drink and drive. And I say that not just because it's a random good advice, but because I heard a story on the radio the other day. I was driving home from work and she kept teasing about a new world record, and you guys know I'm a fool for crazy new information that's totally random. And so I'm pulling in my driveway and she starts saying what this new world record is, and it dawned, and then she said it, and I really don't know if this is a world record. It's not something personally that I would be proud of, or if I worked for Guinness would be great to put it in there. But generally in most states, the legal legal okay to drive limit, so blood alcohol limit is 0.08. 0.08. Okay. This guy was pulled over and arrested for drunk driving with a blood alcohol level of 10 times the legal limit. His blood alcohol level was 0.8. How is he alive? How did he not kill himself or someone else driving 0.08? I'm sorry, 0.8. Well, he was punished very harshly and his license got suspended for life. So you will get caught and you will be punished. Speaking of drinking, it's time for my new favorite bit that I like to call, What is Josh Drinking? And I thought to myself, you know what do kids drink in college? And I was like, alcohol! But it's 11:30 in the morning and I don't think I should be drinking this early. So I thought, what else do kids drink? Well, during finals time, they drink a lot of caffeine. So I went back to drinking my normal Mountain Dew. And Pepsi does make Gatorade. So Pepsi, if you're listening, I'll be happy to take some cool blue Gatorade since I can't find any in stores. Or some Mountain Dew. Whatever. Anyway, so the end of season 5, I said that I was going to do a little bit that I was going to call It's Gotten Really Sad. And I still plan on doing it, but there's not a lot of sarcastically sad, funny things to talk about. And with it being college week, I guess, here on the show, I thought it would be very insightful for me to, and I've been telling you guys that I was going to tell you about my story and show you some pictures and blah, 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 blah. Well, I'm going to give you the story, well, parts of it. But as I was sitting down writing it, I realized, you know what, this is my story. And everybody has their own journeys. Everybody is making their own pathway for their own journeys. And my path is totally different than everybody else's. And so I can't sit here and tell you what to do. You have to figure out what you need to do. And I'm going to give you some new advice in a new segment that I'm calling Something to Think About. So here we go. When I was growing up, throughout my entire life, I wanted to be a teacher. I played school every time I could. I still play school. I have my back room set up as a schoolroom. Just kidding. It's not set up as a schoolroom. But I'm not a teacher. Clearly, look at me now. When I first started high school, I wanted to teach elementary school. High school. I wanted to teach elementary school. But then I realized I hate kids. So then I thought, you know what, I'll teach junior high. But then I realized I hate teenagers. So then I thought, well, why don't I teach math? I love math. And for example, I have a quirk about numbers. I'm really weird about numbers. For example, I'll be sitting at a stoplight and the car in front of me, I'll add up all the digits on the license plate until I get it down to one digit. And by that, I mean, if I add them all up and get 33, I will then add the 3 and 3 and get 6. Don't ask. I don't even know why I do it. Anyway, but then I realized I don't like trigonometry or calculus, and I would have to take those classes in order to teach math, or even teach them, and I hate them. So then my senior year of high school, I was a teacher's assistant for a keyboarding teacher and business teacher, and I thought, you know what, that's what I want to teach. Fast forward 28 years, I am a server at a restaurant doing a YouTube show. I was an EMT and I have a degree in web design. Not at all what I wanted to do. However, I did fulfill my passion of teaching. When I was an EMT, I taught a class. And I have to brag for a minute. I had, not about this part, but I started the class with like 12 to 16 people, and you tend to have some dropouts. Well, my class ended up being 4 students. And all 4 of them took the state test and passed with flying colors. One of them, there's two tests. I don't know if there are anymore. I haven't been in it since 2009, over 10 years. But there were 2 tests, the state test and the national test. And the state test, you could work within your state. The national test was harder. It had the laws or the rules for all the states in it. And so that way, if you moved around, like in the military, which this guy was, and you moved around a lot, you could work in any state. You would have to take their bylaws and their guideline test, but that was it. You were still licensed in that state. And it's the hardest EMS test, and he passed with flying colors, and I just want to brag about that. Brag over. So my point in this, and just something to think about, is you have to lay down the bricks to your own journey, to your own path. And something that wasn't a big thing back when I was going to school, and is a big thing now, my nephew is doing it, is to take a gap year. Back in my day, you just went from high school to college. It was the thing. That's what you did. Back in my day, if you didn't go to college after high school, chances are you were not going to go to college. And that might be to this day. I don't know. But more and more guidance counselors are advising their students, which I am in full agreement with. I wish we had it when I was going around, but it's a gap year. Between high school, after you graduate high school and before you go to college, you take a year off and you work and you figure out what it is you want to go to school for. College costs thousands and thousands of dollars. I believe the last number I heard was for a 4-year college from beginning to end with books, housing, all of that is over $100,000. Do you really want to go to school for a year, put a bunch of money and time invested in one major, and then decide that's not really what you want to do, so you have to basically start all over? That is also why I advise people go to a community college. You can get all your gen eds out of the way while you're living at home, while you're thinking about what it is you actually want to go to, and getting gen eds out of the way that are recognized at most 4-year colleges, if not all 4-year colleges. And you're not wasting thousands and thousands of dollars, because the classes are a little bit cheaper at community colleges. And no matter what someone tells you, if you decide to go to a community college, it is just as good as a 4-year college. Don't let anyone say, well, you're going to a community college. It's a college. You learn the same stuff. It's a college. So lay down the bricks to your path for your journey and decide what you want to do. Had I known then what I know now, yeah, I would have still gone to my community college, but I wouldn't have gone to my 4-year college. Just saying. And that is something to think about. So let's go ahead and move on with our college week with another cheesy monologue. As is stated at the beginning of the month, I went to latenightlol.com and in the search bar typed in school. There were over 400 jokes, so for the last time this season, not only will the jokes be outdated, but will also have something to do with school. Hold on tight. Here we go. A 6th grade student from Springfield, New Jersey, who asked Governor Chris Christie for campaign advice, wound up losing his election for student council. Worse yet, he asked President Obama for economic advice and now owes the school $14 trillion. President Trump traveled to Tampa, Florida today and visited Technical High School. Said Trump, "I went to high school, technically." It's now time for my joke of the week. Nicki Minaj says that her high school will not let her come back and give a motivational speech to students. However, they did invite her back for Career Day. Today, the East Coast was hit with a major snowstorm, forcing New York City public schools to close. After hearing the news, a new Education Secretary Betsy DeVos was like, "Hey, my plan's working." Here's this week's point to ponder. The more I read, the more I acquire. And the more I acquire, I realize I'm a dumbass. That's not a joke, that's just a statement. Moving on. New Jersey Governor Chris Christie continues to push his agenda. Today he proposed a longer school day for children in his state. In fairness, kids in New Jersey probably could use a longer school day since their buses get stuck on a bridge for 3 hours. Hillary Clinton signed a note this week for a 9-year-old boy explaining to his teacher that he was missing school to meet her. In exchange, the child wrote a note for Hillary saying his dog ate her emails. New research reveals that being attractive in high school leads to success later in life. The study also found that being nerdy looking in high school leads to getting a talk show. Wait, what? That's not a joke. Stop that. That's mean and true. Brigham Young University has been named the top sober school in America for the 16th year in a row. The students celebrated by having the most boring party ever. And finally, officials in Memphis are trying to figure out what to do about a high school where 90 girls are pregnant. For starters, they're getting rid of their mascot, the Leaky Trojan. Now, when you send your kid off to college, there's a lot of things that they're not going to know. They're living out on their own for the first time. But you know what? Parents, don't worry. They find ways to hack into their lives as much as they can. And it's time for a segment that I like to call, You're a Hack. Hold on, I don't have it selected like I thought I did. There you go. It's time for a segment I like to call, You're a Hack. Now this first one, the ones throughout this segment, some of them are brilliant, some of them are and some of them are just, what were you thinking? This one is actually brilliant. This person wanted to watch a movie or play a game or something on his iPad, but didn't want to wake up his roommate and have the TV across the room. So what did he do? They got hangers, attached them to their bottom bunk, underneath the top bunk, and they had a little prop to hold up their. How nifty and thoughtful is that? See, you can learn a lot by watching this show. I wasn't a nerd. Actually, I was. And you'll see it next week. Anyway, this is actually very clever. Yeah, it looks like a dumb shoebox sitting there, but in reality, it's all your cords. That is actually very smart. And we thought college kids couldn't handle it. Here's one that I just don't understand. My advice would be to call your landlord. But if you ever need the spout to a shower, just use a bottle. And that would be one of those that I said that would most likely be on the landlord. Unless you broke it and didn't want the landlord to know. Okay, so this next one, I don't. You know, when you go to if you're at a motel even, and they have breakfast for you. They have that big thing where you pull down and you get orange juice and milk. And this is actually pretty clever, pretty cheap, but in my opinion would be considered stealing. Just take your gallon jug and fill it up through that. Hey, then you get to take it back to your place and don't have to go down there every day. Unless you drink it every day. Now this one's pretty clever. But I think it would take a long, long time, and I would just rather go order a whole new one than heat up a piece of pizza with an iron and a blow dryer. But hey, if it works, it works. Can't knock the people for trying, right? Now this one, I couldn't understand what it was at first, but then it dawned on me. If you have bad reception on your TV and you have an antenna, which like I do, all you have to do is take a can, an aluminum can, cut both ends off, put a slit down the middle, open it up, and put it on the antenna, and you have better reception. Don't mind that the can says beer on it, because parents at college, they won't know what a beer is. Unless you heard my blip at the beginning. This one seems like it would take a while. But it's pretty clever. If you're just trying to heat something up real quick to snack on, all you have to do is take the little power boxes for your laptop, yours, your sandwich, and your roommates, and you got a heater. How clever. Clever, but it would take a while. Here's the next one. Hey, this is for every frat house out there. We all know college kids are going to take their clothes home for their parents to wash, right? Or if you're in a fraternity, you make the pledges do it, or whatever the case may be. So you got a washer sitting there. What are you going to do with it? Use it as a cooler. You're welcome. Let me tell you, if you're a college kid, you will find a way to keep your beer cold. You will find a way. Next up, this one is along the same lines as the last couple I've shown you. However, I think it would take a while to reheat your beef and rice with a hairdryer. But it's pretty clever. I mean, when push comes to shove, these kids can think in a pinch. So be grateful for that, parents. I guess this segment proved two things. This one is just one of those where if you can't... Obviously, you could afford the glue. Obviously, you could afford the razor before. But if you can't now, I don't get this one. But just take some plastic forks and make a razor. Takes a lot of work to put them together. I would just prefer to go buy a new one. But whatever. Actually, there are some cool ways to keep your blades for your razors usable for a longer period of time. For example, keep them in a Ziploc bag with a silica packet. Takes all the moisture out of them. Leave your razor so the blades can drip this way so they don't get rusty. Make sure they're dry or they'll rust. Thanks, Dad. I've had the same razor blade for probably 2 months. And they're expensive. They are. So it's time now for parents to realize that your child is not going to be an angel in college, and they will party with some party fails that I put in a segment that I call Oops. Now, when you're drinking and you've gotten too drunk, and you think you're still drinking, you got a problem. Man, that beer is so light. Good, man. This guy apparently sat wrong. I don't know. Here's the next one. Just because you're at a party and just because there's a bar doesn't mean you should dance on it. There are lights and ceilings. Here's the next one. I don't know what this person did to make this happen. All I know is that it's funny. You know that you're supposed to sit in the chair. The chair is not supposed to sit on you, right? Just putting that out there. Just a thought. Maybe you need to think about how you sit. Maybe it should be weird. Maybe it's a little weird. Hey, if you have kids and they're old enough not to be in a crib anymore, a good thing to use your crib for is a cooler. And I love the fact that they have the kid over by the crib playing with what's in the crib, and it's a keg. Anyway. I have a lot of questions about this next picture, all of which I won't even ask. I'll let you come up with your own. And yes, you are seeing a man in bed with a pony. Speechless. Never happens, but I'm speechless. This next one is a text about how somebody was at a party last night. So let's hear. Dude, you were so drunk last night. Was not. Dude, you grabbed my sponge and started CPR on it, screaming, "Live, SpongeBob, live!" It's actually pretty clever. Sounds like something I would do. Live, damn it, live! And with my record, the sponge would still die. Next up, this one just looks like the person behind the group in the picture is really having fun, but shouldn't be on a pole. And it looks like she's about ready to fall off the pole onto them. So, don't you love it when your friends get so drunk that when you tell them to smile and you're going to take a picture of them and you're like, smile, this is how the picture comes out. And finally in this segment, I've always been told growing up, not if you're at I'm going to call it a slumber party, but it's a sleepover. If you're at a sleepover and you're the first one to fall asleep, be prepared to have stuff be pranked throughout the entire night, like this guy. So, we are going to move right along, and unfortunately some kids go to college and still wind up in the back of a police car, which brings up my next segment that I like to call Here Come the Popo. Here's the first one. 8:35 a.m., a report of a large pile of poop sitting on top of a garbage can was received in the 100 block of East Webster Street. So open the can and get it off. That didn't come out right. Moving along. Next one. 12:16 p.m., a caller reported a female, quote, peeking in the windows of the vacant yellow house, end quote. On Fowler Street, the caller was advised that a police officer investigated and found that the person was performing an appraisal for a bank. Rather be safe than sorry, I guess. Here's the next one. I cut out a bunch of the beginning that didn't matter, and said that they found a link to a mysterious appearance of a hot dog man. What? What is hot dog man? Here's the next one. 10:27 a.m. Suspicious activity at WCR 700 North at North US 52. Thornton male thinks he found a body. False alarm. It was a fake penis. Body, penis. They're the same size. Good Lord. I hope not. No pants. A woman walking through the parking lot of a Vadnais Heights big box store did a double take the morning of July 13th, but wished she hadn't seen what she saw the first time. She told a deputy inside about a man in the vehicle nude from the waist down and adult porn on the dashboard. And we're going to end it right there. Hey, if you didn't want to see it, you wouldn't have looked again. Clearly there was something interesting there that you liked. Thursday, 3:20 p.m., a resident who needed help opening a jar called police for assistance. Police opened the jar. Really? And then they took her to jail for being stupid. And rocketed it off our island. Here's the next one. September 16th, 2019. Suspicious at 1:02 a.m. Police responded to 200 block of 5th Avenue for a report of people yelling. Police investigated, and the yelling was related to the Packers winning a football game. Hey, I'm a Blackhawks fan, and I've never yelled loud enough to where people thought I was being murdered or something. Next up, patrolling officers repeatedly came across out-of-town vehicle parked in a variety of locations. The operator asked them why the police were following him. They answered they weren't following him, but kept running into him all over town. The operator explained that he was playing Pokemon. The officers wished him luck with his game. That's kind of why I gave up on Pokemon Go. I used to play it. I may start playing it again. Maybe to motivate me to go out and walk with my dog. But, oh well. And next up, Suttons Bay Township. Caller complaining that the road commission is purposely placing snow at the end of his driveway. Hey, if no one in town likes you, and someone that really hates you has a way to block you into your driveway and keep you home, they'll do it. They do it to me every year. I still break through, though. I still break through. And finally, we're going to read all of them. 10:50 a.m., a woman on Batavia Lane who discovered that her son threw a party over the weekend called in with hopes that he might be charged with delayed MIP. I don't even know what that is. 12:18 a.m., a runaway cow caused a disturbance on Rose Crossing. 12:59 a.m., a man on Wishart Road possibly freaked out. 1:36 p.m., someone called in with a lot of what-if questions regarding stalking and harassment scenarios. That town's got just full of drama in that town. That was from mine. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, that'll bring us to the end of not only the show, but our back-to-school salute, if you would say. And so be sure, if you guys go to college, just remember, be smart. That's all I'm going to say. I'm talking more on the party end of it. If you decide to party, be smart about it. Don't be like the guy who got a .80 breathalyzer fail. And don't wind up on this show in my oops segment, please. You may want to wind up being on my hack segment because you're smart. Anyway. If you think there's something funny I should see and share on the show, be sure to send it to me. There's all my socials that I use. And please, 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 I'm going to ask you one more time today. Please click that subscribe button and help me donate $1 to Toys for Tots. And let's hope the kids have a good Christmas this year. So without further ado, be sure to join me next month for the best month of the entire year, my birthday month. And all the episodes will be about something that I personally love. So be sure to join me then. And without further ado, until next week, everybody, that's all I'm saying.